He promised me forever, said I was his safe place. Then I walked into a cafe and froze. He was holding her hand, smiling. She was wearing my bracelet. When he saw me, he said, "You weren't supposed to be here." I didn't respond. I just turned around. 6 days later, they both got a call that left them speechless. I'm Olivia. I'm 34. I live in Asheville, North Carolina. I've always liked quiet. I like steady routines, warm drinks, walks alone. I'm not the dramatic type. I've never cheated, never messed with anyone's life. I was raised to treat people the way I want to be treated. That's why this whole thing wrecked me so bad. I met Ben 4 years ago. I was in the Home Depot on Hendersonville Road. I had just moved into my own place after a really bad breakup and was determined to mount my own shelves, even though I didn't know how to use a drill properly. I remember standing in the power tools aisle, completely overwhelmed, holding a box with shaky hands. Ben walked over, smiled, and said, "You look like you're about to cry or electrocute yourself." I laughed. That was how it started. He was charming without being pushy. Knew how to talk without sounding fake. That same night, he offered to help. We ended up hanging the shelves together, drinking takeout Thai, and sitting on the floor talking about music. He kissed me before leaving. Said, "You're different." I like that. It didn't move fast, which is why I trusted it. Ben always took his time. He'd show up with coffee when I had a long work shift. He'd leave notes in my lunch. He met my mom, helped her with her porch light when it broke, and she adored him. But what got me the most was how he used to call me his safe place. He'd say it when I was curled up beside him. "You calm me down." I don't get that from anyone else. I lived for those words. After my last relationship, where I felt like a burden every single day, this felt like healing. I didn't need grand gestures. I just needed someone who wanted to stay. For the most part, it felt real. He never raised his voice. Never disappeared for days. He made future plans with me. We looked at houses together. Talked about maybe adopting a dog once we both had more time. And then, it all came crashing down in one afternoon. It was a random Wednesday. I had a dentist appointment near downtown. Nothing major. Just a cleaning. I was in a good mood. The kind of day where you feel like treating yourself. There's this cafe down on Biltmore Avenue. I never really go there. Too trendy. But that day I figured, why not? I parked, went in, and walked up to the counter. And that's when I saw him. Ben. He was at the back, sitting near the window, facing the street. Holding someone's hand across the table. A woman. Pretty. Long dark hair. She was smiling, playing with his fingers. He looked happy. Relaxed. That exact look he used to give me when I'd bring him breakfast in bed. And then I noticed something else. On her wrist was a silver bracelet. My silver bracelet. The one he gave me on our anniversary. The one he said reminded him of me, simple, but strong. I wore it every day for 2 years. Until the week before, when I took it off to clean the sink and forgot to put it back on. I remember seeing it on the bathroom counter. He must have picked it up. And given it to her. I didn't even walk over. I just stood there. He looked up. Saw me. And I'll never forget what he said. "You weren't supposed to be here." No panic. No apology. Just irritation. Like I'd ruined something. I didn't say a word. I turned around and walked out. My legs felt like jelly. I got in my car and just sat there, staring ahead, heart pounding, hands clenched. I didn't cry. Not then. I just felt cold. Numb. At home, I went through every conversation we'd had over the last few months. Every late-night kiss. Every dinner he made. Every "I love you" he whispered before bed. And I realized it had all been a lie. A very practiced, smooth lie. I didn't call him. Didn't ask for an explanation. He didn't reach out either. Until 3 days later. I got a text, "Can we talk?" It's not what it looked like. That was it. No apology. No ownership. No shame. And that's when something snapped in me. Not sadness. Not heartbreak. Just cold, sharp focus. I started with Marcus. Marcus was Ben's closest friend. They'd known each other since college. He used to come over a lot for game nights. Ben always acted weird when Marcus and I joked around, told me Marcus had a thing for me. But Marcus never crossed a line. When I called him, he picked up fast. I asked him straight out, "Is Ben seeing someone else?" There was a pause. Then he sighed. "Yeah. Carly. They've been involved for a while." "How long?" "Since January." January. That meant Valentine's Day, my birthday, our trip to Gatlinburg. All lies. Then Marcus dropped the final bomb. He told Carly you were dragging the relationship out. Said you were emotionally unstable. That you refused to let him go. That was the moment I stopped being hurt. And started getting angry. Ben worked for a mid-sized tech company just outside Asheville. They specialized in data solutions for medical facilities. He'd been working for months on landing a big account with a regional hospital chain. He said if they signed the deal, it could mean a major raise and maybe even a move into upper management. He'd spent nights perfecting that pitch deck. Guess who helped proof it? Me. I read over every slide. Gave feedback. Helped him format it. He even saved a backup copy on my laptop once when his USB corrupted. I still had it. And that's when I realized I could ruin him. I called the hospital's legal department using a prepaid number. Told them I had reason to believe Ben's proposal contained manipulated data, inflated metrics, and maybe even competitor IP. I used enough technical language to sound legit. I sent them some of the early drafts from my drive, and one from later that had key figures altered. Just enough to raise alarms. 6 days after I saw him in the cafe, Ben and Carly were having brunch when their phones started blowing up. Internal audit. Suspensions. HR interviews. Turns out Carly had emailed herself parts of his presentation from his work laptop. Their company had access to internal logs. It wasn't hard to track. They both lost their jobs. Ben tried to call me. Once. Then twice. Then every day for 2 weeks. I never answered. The last text he sent said, "Why would you do this to me? I trusted you." And I stared at the screen for a long time before deleting the message. He had no idea what real trust meant. After they were fired, things didn't go quiet. At first, I thought that would be it. That I'd watch from a distance as they struggled. I figured Ben would move on to someone new or go crawling back to his parents like he did when things got hard. I was wrong. A week later, Marcus texted me, "Heads up. Ben's spiraling. Carly dumped him." I didn't respond, but I couldn't help reading it twice. I found out more through mutuals. Apparently, after they both lost their jobs, Carly freaked out. She hadn't known how deep the lies ran. She thought Ben had been single. Thought the bracelet was something he bought for her. She also didn't know he'd been fired not just for policy violations, but for putting her name on part of the proposal without approval. She screamed at him, called him a liar, and kicked him out of her apartment. That same day, she sent an angry message to Ben's sister, who always liked me, and told her everything. Ben's sister, Melanie, reached out to me 2 days later. "Liv," she said on the phone, her voice low. "I didn't know. I swear. I thought you guys were still together." What he did, it's disgusting. I'm so sorry. I hadn't expected that. She told me Ben was staying at their parents' place in Waynesville. That he was trying to get another job, but nobody in town would touch him after the hospital deal fell apart. His name was being quietly passed around as a liability. He tried calling me again. I didn't answer. But one night, around midnight, he came to my house. I was watching TV when I heard the knock. I froze. Then I muted the screen and peeked through the peephole. There he was. Hair messy, circles under his eyes, standing on my porch like he used to when he brought over takeout. I didn't open the door. He knocked again. Louder this time. Then he spoke, low and desperate. Liv. I'm sorry. I screwed up. I was scared. I didn't mean to hurt you. Please, can we talk? I stayed completely still. He stood there for a few minutes. I could hear him breathing hard. Then he walked away. The next morning, I found a note stuck under the doormat. You ruined my life. I loved you. I just made a mistake. Why are you doing this to me? I crumpled it and threw it away. But the thing was, I wasn't done. I found Carly on Instagram. Her page had gone private, but her profile pic was still the same, a shot of her on the beach, wearing my bracelet. Something about that image made my skin crawl. It wasn't just the betrayal. It was how easy it all looked for them. Like they could take what they wanted, then pretend they hadn't burned something down to get it. So I decided to pay her back, too. Not through some big dramatic stunt. I just did what Ben had done to me. I lied. I created a fake email address. Posed as someone from a company she had applied to. I knew from a friend she was trying to get into a local marketing firm. I wrote a fake email that looked like it came from HR. Simple. Professional. Then I added this line at the end. Please be advised that as part of our standard background check, we will be reviewing your involvement in the ongoing IP dispute related to the Mantech Hospital software presentation. If you'd like to provide a statement in advance, you may do so here. I waited. 2 days later, she deleted all her social media. Marcus told me she left town. Moved back to Charlotte to live with her mom. He said she had a breakdown and told everyone she felt trapped. And Ben? Ben started drinking. He got a DUI. Crashed his new car into a stop sign on a dead-end street. Nobody was hurt, but the car was totaled. Insurance didn't cover it because he was over the limit. His license got suspended. He had to go to court. Melanie messaged me again. Told me their parents were sick of him. That he sat around the house, blaming everyone but himself. She said something I still think about. He keeps saying someone set him up. But he doesn't understand. He set himself up a long time ago. I should have felt better. But I didn't. Not really. Because part of me still remembered what it felt like when he called me his safe place. When I trusted him so completely that I would have built a whole life around him. And now? Now I was watching that same man fall apart. Publicly. Quietly. Day by day. He had no job. No girlfriend. No friends left to cover for him. No car. No future. And I still had one more card to play. The card I was holding wasn't dramatic. It was boring. But it was personal. And I knew it would hit him harder than anything else had. Ben had a storage unit. He never talked about it much, but I knew the code. 2904, his mom's birthday. He used it for everything. His passwords, his phone lock, even our garage keypad back when he stayed with me for a few months in 2022 while waiting on a new lease. He kept old things in that unit. Childhood stuff. College trophies. Journals, pictures. Sentimental crap most guys wouldn't bother saving. But Ben did. He was nostalgic to a fault. And one more thing, he kept a safe in there. I helped him move it in once. He had told me it was for important personal documents and backups. I never asked questions. But now I wanted answers. I had to know how deep his lies really went. So I went back. I still had the key on my spare ring. I don't even think he realized I never gave it back. The place was just off Swannanoa River Road. I drove up on a rainy Tuesday afternoon and let myself in like I belonged there. It was darker than I remembered. Dusty. Stale air. I opened the safe with the same birthday code. Inside was paperwork. Files. Flash drives. A folder marked taxes. Another marked contracts. I went through them slowly, expecting to find nothing useful. Then I saw a folder tucked under the others. It wasn't labeled. Inside were a few photos, printed ones. Of Ben and Carly. At her apartment. In a hotel room I didn't recognize. All time-stamped. Some of them were from last summer. Which meant he'd been lying even longer than Marcus thought. I took pictures of everything. Underneath the folder was something else. A small black leather-bound notebook. He used to keep journals. I had no idea he still did. I flipped through it. Some pages were about work. Stress. Frustrations. But then I found entries about me. One line stood out. Liv is starting to ask too many questions. I have to distract her before she puts things together. Another, I think she's finally suspicious. Gonna lay low for a week and then take her to that cabin to reset. He had taken me to a cabin in Boone last fall. I thought it was romantic. A reset. Turns out it was damage control. Every page I read, I felt the blood drain from my face. He wasn't just careless. He had been strategic. He'd been juggling us both for over a year. Manipulating. Managing. Calculating. He hadn't just cheated. He'd played me. There were notes about Carly, too. How she was young and easy to impress. How she liked being the one he chose over the older woman. I felt sick. Then I saw something else, an envelope at the bottom of the safe. Inside was a printed NDA. Signed. Not by Ben. But by a name I didn't recognize, Daniel Whitaker. I Googled it. Turns out Daniel Whitaker was a former client Ben had worked with back when he did freelance consulting on the side. I remembered him, vaguely. He had come up once when Ben was stressed. Said the guy was too needy. But there was more. When I searched the name again with the company info from the NDA, I found a news article, a lawsuit from 2 years ago. The company had accused an outside consultant of leaking internal reports to a competitor. It didn't list names, but the dates lined up. And I realized something. Ben didn't just lie to me. Or cheat on me. Or manipulate 2 women. He had a history of betrayal. Professional. Financial. Personal. And suddenly, I knew exactly what to do. I printed everything. The photos. The journal entries. The NDA. I made a file. No name. No fingerprints. I mailed 1 copy to the legal department of the hospital that dropped him. 1 copy to his ex-client's corporate office. And 1 to Carly's apartment in Charlotte. I didn't write a return address. I just waited. Marcus called me 2 weeks later. Did you hear? He asked. Hear what? Ben got sued. What? Yeah. That guy Whitaker's company, they reopened the investigation. Apparently someone mailed them proof. NDA violations, internal notes, even his journals. And Carly? She took the file you sent and posted part of it online. Blasted him for being a narcissist and liar. Said he emotionally manipulated them both. I didn't say anything. Then Marcus said, "You did it, didn't you?" I paused. Then said, "He did it to himself." But it wasn't over yet. Because 3 days later, Ben showed up at my door again. Only this time, he wasn't alone. It was a Friday afternoon when I heard the knock. I was in the kitchen, pouring tea, thinking about absolutely nothing important, just whether I should repaint the cabinets. I wasn't expecting anyone. The knock came again. Harder. I peeked through the window. Ben. And next to him, his mother. Judith. I hadn't seen her in almost a year. She used to hug me tight, call me sweet girl, tell me I brought out the best in her son. Now she stood next to him with her arms folded, tight-lipped and pale. I opened the door a few inches, kept the screen locked. Ben looked like hell. Eyes bloodshot, hair greasy, shirt wrinkled and untucked. He had lost weight. Fast. Judith spoke first. "Olivia. We need to talk." I didn't answer. She looked at me like I was a stranger. Like all those times she invited me to dinner didn't exist anymore. Ben finally spoke. "You sent those files." I didn't confirm or deny. He stepped forward. His voice cracked. "They're coming after me for damages. They froze my accounts. I can't pay rent. Carly made a public post calling me abusive. My name's being searched in lawsuits I didn't even know existed." He looked straight at me. "I know it was you." I still didn't speak. Judith cut in again. "We know he made mistakes. But this? You've destroyed his life. He's not perfect, but he didn't deserve this." That was it. I opened the door all the way. Walked out onto the porch. "You want to talk about what someone deserves?" I said, my voice low, shaking with how hard I was holding it in. "Let's go back." I looked at Judith. He told me I was his safe place. While he was sleeping with someone else. For over a year. Gave her my bracelet. Lied to both of us. Used me to polish his work. Built a proposal with stolen data. Let her take the fall too. I turned to Ben. "And while all that was happening, you were writing in your little notebook about how to reset me. Like I was a program. A glitch to manage. Not a person." His face turned white. I kept going. "You didn't just cheat. You played me. Played everyone. You broke the kind of trust that doesn't grow back." He looked like he wanted to speak, but I stepped in closer. "You came here thinking I'd feel guilty? That I'd apologize? That your mommy could talk me into letting it go?" Judith gasped. "I am not," I cut her off. "Your son is a fraud. And the only reason I didn't burn it all down sooner is because I gave him the benefit of the doubt. The exact thing he didn't give me." Ben looked like he was going to cry. I didn't care. I took a step back, grabbed a small box from the porch shelf, and tossed it down in front of him. It was the bracelet. The one Carly wore. My bracelet. Somehow, it had found its way back to me. A friend of Carly's sent it anonymously with a note, "Thought this belonged to you." "Here," I said, calmly. "Return it to whoever you're lying to now. If there's anyone left." Judith tried to speak again, but I stepped back into the house and closed the door without another word. Locked it. They stood there a minute. Then they left. That was the last time I saw Ben. But it wasn't the last I heard. The lawsuit from Whitaker's company moved fast once the NDA was confirmed. Since Ben had lied under oath in an earlier deposition, the new evidence meant possible perjury charges. He didn't just lose the case. They hit him with legal fees, restitution, and a 5-year industry ban in tech consulting. He tried getting a job at a cell phone store. Didn't pass the background check. Eventually, someone sent me a link to a Craigslist ad. He was offering freelance tutoring in basic computer skills. He had gone from pitching six-figure contracts to helping retirees check email. Carly? She never returned to Asheville. Last I heard, she was working at a mall kiosk outside Charlotte and dating someone new. I should feel sorry for them. I really should. But I don't. Because they played with someone who gave everything in good faith. Who never lied. Who never asked for more than honesty and respect. And instead of ending things like a grown-up, he tried to rewrite me. Erase me. Turn me into some crazy footnote in his life. So I wrote my own ending. Not a breakdown. Not a sad, quiet fade into nothing. But fire. Fire they never saw coming. Fire that looked calm, quiet, controlled. Until it was too late. And me? I'm okay now. It took time. I went to therapy. I started boxing. I cut my hair short and planted tomatoes. I painted those cabinets. I'm seeing someone new, slowly. Carefully. No big promises. Just honesty, one day at a time. But sometimes, late at night, I still hear his voice in my head. You weren't supposed to be here. And I smile. Because I was. I was exactly where I needed to be. To see the truth. To take it apart. And to make sure he never forgets what it feels like to be the one left standing in the ruins. Alone. Exactly where he was supposed to be.